Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. I'm back on the Victor the 16th, the motor, and there's a couple of critical things about these. Basically, it's the same rebuild, take the springs out, polish everything out. But the end barrel here, on this end plate, the end barrel here, has a bearing right here. And you want to check this for wear. The other thing is, this is the casting that fits right over here like that. So the spring barrel will be here and it all goes in this way. So we check this for wear, and we can see on this one it doesn't have wear. But what's interesting about the early stuff, they spent a little extra time. And you see here they put a little chamfer in here for oil. I do this when I don't see these on these. And this is factory, which means they were taking their time. And then the other thing is, on this one, the end bearing that goes into the casting, you want to make sure that this is smooth with no wear marks, and this is smooth. On this, you can chuck this into your drill, and you can polish this out with 320, 400 grit sandpaper to smooth out any run marks or wear marks in here. Also, you can chuck it in and sand down one side of this, flip the bearing over, and sand down the other part while the drill's running, because on some of them, this bearing fits in this way. So we have the flat side here, and then we have this recessed area here. This is the back side for oiling. This needs to move freely in here like this, because on in the video, after I get the motor running, you have an adjustment screw. You screw this in till the motor stops, and then you back the screw out. This little screw right here. Then you'll back this out, and you'll hear the motor, when it's running, hit this sweet spot. I'll show you later in the video how that's done. I've done it on other videos. But the critical thing is that you have this bearing freely smooth, going in and out like this, because we have a screw that comes through here and tightens up. What you do not want to do is, oh, well, I could just take a screwdriver and I could just bend this a little out each way. And I've seen people do that, and lo and behold, this side here will break off. If you start playing with a cast iron and say, oh, I'll just stick a screwdriver in here and open that up a little. Nope. I've gotten a bunch in from customers that this is broken off. You have to go find a new one of these. So what you do is you can sand the outside of this, and you can flex tone. On this one, it was very tight, so I flex tone and sanded. I went from the bearing to the inside with a flex tone, back and forth, till I got it to, okay, it'll slide right in. And there was a high spot in there. You have to realize at the factory, we're building these things, just slam it in there. If the wheels go around, it goes around. But we want them to run a lot better than the factory. The other thing about these 16 motors, or this type of motor from Victor, is that we have a spindle shaft that's coarse gear. You see how far apart the gears are here. And we see how far apart the governor shaft gears are. They're usually finer. So what happens is we have a coarse tooth drive gear here to drive the governor, and you will get governor noise out of this. It will give you a little bit of a funny you can hear the gears running together. And we will use the green grease and the graphite on that to cut that back on the noise. One other critical factor is, when you're rebuilding your governor, you see the reflection of my screwdriver into the flywheel. You want this perfectly smooth. I polished that out all the way up to 700, then I polished it out with flitz, because this leather thing right here rides here all the time when the motor's running. So when people don't oil machines, the leather gets gummed up with oil and crud, and it starts driving through the brass. This brass is extremely soft. And then you get these swirl lines all the way around. So you want to take a fingernail file and I have video on this. You know, you want to just give that a couple of swipes to clean off all the old crud that's collected over
In the leather.
in the leather over 115 or 10 years. And then you want to polish this out. And this will make the governor run a lot smoother. And these are just little things about early Victrolas, not Victors, but the Victrola, and how to make the motors run a lot better. And that's my tip for the day.